Hello, everybody. My name is Satyajit Sarkar, and today we're with the cast of Starshear Rim. Let's give a warm yeehaw to everybody in the cast. Please introduce yourselves.
My name's Charlie Libitska, and I am Virgil Stockwell.
My name is Jonathan Reynolds, or you can call me Johnny, and I am Sylvester Unkton.
Hi, I'm Margot MacArthur, and I play the Marshal and the Barkeep.
I'm Clayton Hester, and I am Harrow.
I'm Gabrielle Freitas, and I played Tara Stockwell.
I am Caitlin Daney, and I play Meng.
Hi, I'm Gabe White, and I play the Crazed Mountain Hobo and Feral Desert Dweller number 3.
Hi, I'm Sarah Gross, and I play Priscilla Stockwell.
Hi, I'm Brett Smith, and I play Tross Damon and Yas Nento.
First of all, I'd like to say this was a great show, written by our very own president, Clayton Hester. Let's give a warm round of applause to Clayton.
It's funny because they don't know what they're applauding.
No idea.
You're applauding me. No,
No idea.
Anyway.
Now, Clayton, my first question goes to you. And obviously, as you can see, as you're the writer of the show, my question will be, what inspired you to write this show?
So I think, first of all, it was kind of a love of the idea of the genre. It's not one that a whole lot of people have dabbled in. And so when it's kind of an interesting thing, because with genre, people at times view it like a box, but one of the fun things about it is like when you've got a box, you can play with the box and not just what's in the box. It's like that's part of, I think, what Starshear Rim was. I'm kind of a nerd about Westerns too. It's something I've recently discovered somewhat about myself. It just a lot of it, just like the vibe and the kind of philosophy and the music, all the whole 9 yards, really. And so that was a lot of what inspired it, as well as just being a sci-fi geek. And I love the sci-fi genre. I love space stuff as well. And so that's really, I think, what aided in coming up with it. Then you added in, several characters who each took on a life of their own, did their own thing, represented different things as well. And so that was a lot of what came together in forming this show for me.
There's a lot of conflict and a lot of dense characters that come through. Dense in the sense that there's a lot to unpack there. One being our hero of the story, Virgil Stockwell. Charlie, I'm going to pass it on to you. With Virgil Stockwell's character, what would you say was the meat of his character? What would you say kind of boils down to his ideals?
The first thing I would say is I see him as a Wyatt Earp kind of guy from Tombstone. Always wanting to do good by the law, always wanting to do good for himself and for his folks, for his family. And that's kind of the route I took for him. I tried to make it my own because I didn't want to rip off of the character. And so I just used pieces of Wyatt Earp for what I used for Virgil Stockwell.
So he's in your eyes the ultimate lawman, I guess, of the Wild Wild West setting.
I wouldn't even say lawman. I'd say kind of just a do-gooder in general. He's the hero. He's the cowboy hero.
Now, Clayton, I'm going to pass it back to you. What was your vision in writing Virgil Stockwell's character? Where did you see him going?
Sure. Yeah, I get that. And I like the Wyatt Earp illusion too, because I hadn't thought of that one. Really. And so it's interesting. So if you look at Westerns, and if you're a fan of classic Westerns or the spaghetti Western genre that, kind of went off of that, that things started out like the play kind of references, or the show kind of references the idea of the white hat. And so these days that kind of language has been adopted in a way because it's thought of as a cliche that the good guy wears a white hat. And so that's kind of like hacker. In some hacker circles I've heard. I'm not an experienced hacker. That's not a confession.
Are you sure about that?
I don't
Okay.
know anything. This is not. Oh,
I mean, if we find an Anon mask in your room.
oh, ooh.
Uh-oh.
L,
It is nothing, I swear.
L, Clayton's in trouble. You gotta dig him out of this one.
But yeah, no, it's kind of this stereotypical white knight type situation with a lot of the classic heroes. And then when the spaghetti westerns bring that along, Clint Eastwood, the type, I kind of see him and John Wayne types of cowboys diametrically opposed, really. Like one represents the do-gooder, one represents the guy that's going to stand up and do what he thinks is right. The other guy he's more of a utilitarian. He does things that are bad. He usually isn't doing it all for himself, but those are kind of the diametrically opposed things. And the anti-hero has kind of become very popular in today's fiction. So I kind of wanted Virgil Stockwell to be an anti-hero, if that works, And so
Yeah.
that was what I was seeing in Virgil.
I do see the anti-hero in what you just described as. And honestly, the whole dynamic between Virgil and Harrow didn't seem like they were adversaries per se,
right?
But more, I don't know how to put my finger on it. If somebody wants to chime in, either Clayton, who played Harrow in the production, or Virgil, or anybody else who paid attention to their relationship.
I'll say it's more of like a like they're just coworkers. Like they don't really like each other, but they have to get along at work, or bad things are going to happen to both of them. So yeah, I think they kind of just dealt with each other.
Yeah. And so that's kind of it with Virgil gets thrown into a situation where he's having to do bad things to do good things, which he's not okay with, and which I think really still makes him an anti-hero. Not to beat a new coined term to death, however, just that sort of thing, where he's trying to put up a fight against things he feels like he has to do, and so when he's in that place where he's doing these things, he's looking into Harrow as a kind of a dark mirror in which he, this guy is completely bad. This is a bad dude. Where he himself is trying not to see himself fully in that, or something like that,
That whole relationship and the way that it blossomed, for a lack of better terms, throughout the story was pretty interesting to watch. Now, did you have that chemistry, I guess, in mind from the beginning of the creation of these two characters, or was it you were writing and then it came to you that, hey, maybe they're not strictly evil or good, or
Right. I think it is part of the fact that Harrow, he likes to use people, and so using Virgil for him is not a huge thing. He uses Virgil. He's kind of playful about it, and then Virgil back at him is basically just trying to put up the ruse so long as he can be undercover or whatnot, and to get out alive, and to do what he needs to do. So yeah, I think that it blossomed out of there. I wouldn't say that I went in with a whole lot of chemistry. Like this would be a whatever you would call the opposite of a buddy cop, in which they're both criminals and are on the run and stuff. But
partners in
like
crime,
a Batman and Joker, like a vigilante versus a villain, I guess.
Yeah. So that's kind of where it came from. It kind of evolved organically. It wasn't a whole lot that I had in mind originally.
Now I'm going to pass it on to the matriarch of the Stockwell family, Tara Stockwell, our very own Vice President of RRT, Elle Freitas. So, Elle, first of all, how you doing tonight?
Oh, yeah, doing good.
Great. I was going to ask everybody else in the room how they're doing tonight, but I'm going to do that whenever I get to them. So,
Okay.
anyways, what I was going to ask was, with your character, there seems to be a placed emphasis on, I guess, keeping the family together. Would you agree?
Yes, definitely. I think Tara definitely has kind of used this family unit to almost distract her from the guilt over the things that she's done in her past. Yes, absolutely. She loves Virgil and she loves Priscilla, but part of it is that distraction coping mechanism, kind of proving to herself that she can be good, she can hold together a family, even if it isn't the full family that she once had.
Now, that past trauma, how did that play into your interpretation of Tara?
I kind of think Tara is a bit of a perfectionist, honestly. She's so good at portraying herself as the perfect mom, the perfect wife, always measured, always thinking things through. But when you get that scene with Harrow or with the Marshal, you see that she has all of this unresolved guilt and anger underneath that just kind of fires out. So it was kind of interesting to play with the two different sides of her personality in order to show that she really was, even though there was a genuineness to it, she was putting on an act too.
Great insights, by the way, because the only reason I'm saying that is because with what you had as 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 much as it was, there was still so much to dig deep on, and really you could see the torment that Tara went through throughout this story.
First read through, I actually kind of ignored Tara, which was bad of me. I didn't notice her at all, and then I was reading through again and a third time, and I was like, you know what? Tara has so many more layers to her that I didn't notice the first time through. And I was really excited then about digging in and really getting inside her head.
Because at the end, I believe she's the one who gains vengeance for Virgil on Marshall, correct?
Well, no, technically, Sylvester, I believe, shoots the Marshal, taking that last little bit from her. But she doesn't blame him for it, though.
Yeah, that's a good way to go. That's a good way to
Yeah,
go.
I think she's real happy about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Marshall was good. I'm out of this conversation, but yeah.
Rip me.
Hey, if anyway, Marshall, sorry, Margot as Marshall. First of all, please tell us how you're doing tonight.
Hi, I'm doing very well.
And now, with Marshall's character, what did you find was the most important ideal Marshall held?
Oh, wow. Okay, that's a really good question. So it did take me a couple times to read through the script to kind of understand my character. And in after around the second or third time, I realized that Marshall definitely has somewhat of a Javert from Les Mis sort of feel, that she is abiding by the law, and to her, the law is what is good, but she may not realize that what she is doing is bad. She's kind of stuck in this mindset that she's trying to do good, and only until the end, like, of her life does she realize that she's really in the wrong, and instead of her offing herself, she's offed by someone else. So
Wow.
I think the most important part for her, was that goodness. She was trying to always find, live by what is good, trying to make peace, all that zen-ness. That it's basically she was just trying her best, but it didn't seem like her best was enough.
But yeah, honestly, that's wow. That was a good answer to a great question. I'm not gonna lie.
Well, thank you.
But now to get things a little bit lighter here, I heard near the end that you have multiple ways of dying. Can we get a little example of that on this Aftershow podcast, please?
Die on the spot.
Sure. Hold on.
Oh my gosh, it's
There
almost
you
like
go.
it's still happening.
I'm dying, and then I'm dying and then rebirthing multiple times.
Could you please tell us?
No, all they heard was noises. All they heard was
I
noises.
don't even know if they heard anything. It's pretty soundproof in here. So-
Oh no, we heard it all. I'd say we heard it all. Could you please tell us what you died of in that moment?
in all those moments.
Yeah, in that string of moments.
Let's see. I got stabbed once. I think I got like just punched in the stomach. The last one I know, I tried choking myself.
I heard the asphyxiation.
You know what? I'll leave it up
pretty well.
to the listener's imagination. You know what? Go wild.
Audience
I don't-
interpretation.
Audience
Soundscapes.
interpretation.
Yes. Yes.
Great.
Literal soundscapes.
The asphyxiation near the end really chef's kiss.
I take pride in my art. Thank you.
That's right, folks. That was.
We're turning to a barn house here.
I hope this was the conversation you were looking for, because this
Oh,
might
no,
be
it's
all that you're
great.
gonna get.
It's
Yeah.
great.
Quite possible.
This is gold. This is gold. All right, moving on. Moving on from whatever the hell that was.
Death. It was death.
And the thing is, you literally asked for it too.
You did. You had it coming.
You literally asked. Show us. Give us.
I
a
don't
demonstration.
regret it. I really don't regret it. But
Well, there
it
you
was
go.
very entertaining. It was very entertaining.
All right, yeah, Caitlin. Caitlin's here.
Caitlin. Sorry, do we have guys, it's 10:37 at night.
Correct.
Yes.
Anyway, so Caitlin,
Yes.
Meng, I lost my damn question. All right.
Meng, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We can rename this the episode at Baldwin's Bar where we act drunk but are not.
It's all Sylvester's hallucination.
Exactly.
So, Caitlin,
Yes.
with Meng's character, there seemed to be a sympathy of sorts towards. Honestly, there was an overarching sympathetic quality to your character.
Right.
Why do you think that is? Why do you believe? I'm asking you this as Meng. Why do you present this sympathy towards the characters in the play?
I think that I don't know, she was orphaned and she was, on an auction block and she went to the highest bidder, and I think that also the fact that she can like read minds and she can tell like what people are thinking, it really gives her an edge because she knows everyone's thoughts and she knows, hey, I've been through some struggles. I'm an orphan. And then she can read everyone's thoughts and say, hey, I know you're struggling. I can see what you're going through. Even though you might not be telling me, I can see what's going on. And I think that really gives her a sympathetic edge because it's got to be hard to hear everything everyone says, which is also why she says that she enjoys the silence when she's with Harrow.
So, with that being said, there has to be the question of whether absolute knowledge or near absolute knowledge would at one point, I guess, make Meng invulnerable or numb to everybody's struggles around her. Now, this could be answered by both Caitlin, who played Meng, and also Clayton, who wrote Meng. Whoever wants to go first.
I think there is a numbness, but there is a humanity. I kind of think um, it would be realistically like a sense that we have naturally, when you have any sensation, and I think that's the real call towards mindfulness these days, um, is whenever you have either something tactile, something you breathe in, something you taste, to be present in a moment. That's an important thing. Um, because in the daily rush of things, we lose the newness that can be experienced with different sensations. However, for Ming, I think that for her, a lot of this is still painful in regards to her not having a shield in a way that, she and Harrow are pretty diametrically opposed as far as emotion and integrity of those emotions and stability and such go. Because Meng becomes reliant on using some sort of, medicine, if you want to call it that, in terms of her forgetfulness and her amnesia. Um, so that's what she uses to forget. So she uses that. She is kind of in a situation where she is just pretty much going along with it, um, and trying to get by the best she can. And so that is one of the reasons that she is attached to Harrow as well, is some of that silence, but also the fact that she does care for him. It must be a really interesting experience as well, that she learns to care about somebody that she doesn't have direct access to. And that's not something that was really delved into in the show. Same as the fact that the reason she is struggling so much with this trait that must be natural to her species. The reason it's imbalanced and it's not natural for her to be flooded must signal something as far as her character's own culture and how they would deal with that in the setting if she were around other people like her. So now that she's kind of a fish out of water, she's dealing with that. That's something else I'm sure that's in her backstory. I just don't know a lot about that.
This whole conversation that you brought up with
Mhm.
with Meng's backstory brings to the forefront a lot of moral issues that could be dived into, and somewhat were with, I guess, when you say that Harrow cannot be read by Meng, and yet she still sympathizes and connects with
Mhm.
him. That brings to mind a very human relationship,
Mhm.
because obviously I can't read your mind,
Mhm.
you know, and yet I, as a friend, am there for you whenever, and
Mhm.
as friends do,
Yeah.
if you're in need or if I'm in need. This whole back and forth, but the special thing between Harrow and Meng
Mhm.
is that Harrow is not human or not flesh and blood. How does that factor in from a standpoint of Harrow towards Meng?
Um, yeah, for him, he does care in as much as he cares for anything that he can take and have for himself. Um, yeah, I mean, you've heard some of his interaction with Tara, which it had some backstory in terms of the fact that she hired him those years ago. Um, I mean, she's uh, as far as Meng goes, she is at the end of the day, um, a slave. And really, the fact that he throws her away so easily really speaks to the kind of his view of her, his view of most people in general. And it's sad, but it's kind of the truth of Harrow, is that he just didn't care. There are some interests to Harrow's character in terms of his personality, whether his dryness in terms of his relation and humor to other people, or those sorts of things. or his desire to act human. Those are also present. But at the end, he's a bad man.
At some point, I guess the inhumane and cold demeanor
Right.
of Harrow really does put all the strings together at the end when he's finally destroyed, because everybody comes together at the end to, I guess, feel human in their own way, or feel genuine in their own person, whichever species they might be in your world.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's a good takeaway in that sense. How'd you feel about the ending? I'll ask a question.
You're asking me generally or anybody?
Anybody.
All right. Do we have any takers?
If you would like, if Sati, I meant to ask you first. If anybody else wants to answer after that, that's also a possibility. But yeah,
Sure,
if you had any thoughts on that.
First of all, it was a great ending, but it was me mentally as I was hearing the story, I was like, oh, maybe this could have happened or this could happen. But I saw your vision as a writer, and all I could see was the way that the story ended. It couldn't have ended any other way, and it wouldn't have made sense if oh yeah, like, Marshall gets to live and everything's forgiven and everything, moves on, and Virgil's not, hurt or whatnot. And, it wouldn't have created the impact that it did, and it wouldn't have underlined and underscored the overarching theme that you were trying to present with Starshear Rim. So that's my opinion on your ending. I don't know if that helped you or not.
No, yeah, no, I appreciate that. I would say, I will give a reaction to that.
We got dead silence. Come on, what is this?
Quite
We
dead,
gotta...
quite dead. As is the theme of the some of the show.
Well, I will say that that the ending definitely does befit the rest of the show. I would agree with you that it was probably the most legit ending you could have had for that, and it was like spot on. Like it couldn't have been written any other way, and I think that is to Clayton's talent as a writer. Yeah,
I mean, I told Clayton already he should be in a writer's room in LA. So.
Shucks.
Yeah.
Other people tell me how great I am. No.
You're amazing.
One by one.
Brilliant.
Now,
well, I appreciate it.
Brilliant, my
Yeah,
boy.
you do.
Brilliant.
I got a question for you. So, Elle, my question to you is: you were the editor for this script. Take us through the nitty gritty of where the script was and where it ended up.
Well,
I would have asked Clayton this question, but I didn't want him to sugarcoat it, so I'm asking you.
Oh, no pressure. We edited this a while back. This was June or July, so it's been a bit. I will be completely honest. I am not a fan of Westerns. So during the editing process,
right now.
what was me not liking Westerns and what was legitimate plot issues. So yeah, the first episode was pretty good. It was pretty solid. I was like, yeah, this is going somewhere. The character actually of Tara in that first episode was very small. I was like, she doesn't really have a purpose. You can actually cut her. And the story would be the exact same if it was just Virgil and his daughter. And he was like, no, I'm not going to cut her. And I was like, oh, okay. I mean, that's up to you. And then episode 2, I was like, what just happened. I have no clue what's going on. And there were a lot of notes. I was probably a little harsher than I should have been. I was just sending like pages and pages of notes. So then he went back and then he did you edit 2 first or did you write 3?
I think I wrote it to the end.
Did you?
I think I did. I remember getting this done in about a week.
Okay. I feel like there was a break though. I feel like 3 wasn't written yet.
Yeah, I probably sent it to you before the 3 was written. But then it was, yeah.
Yeah, so then I went to 3 and 3 was definitely much better shape than 2. It was pretty good. It was like at the level of 1. And then we went back to 2, that beautiful middle section that no writer ever struggles with. And then it was much, much better and the plot tied together. And what I really liked listening to this recording was there was just a character that was in one episode, but they really, really shone. So we had the Mountain Man in episode 1, and then we had Tros Nento and Tros Damon, and then we had well, she's not here right now, but Vanette in episode 3. So we had this over arc, but he also made sure to have like almost like a breather moment with not that Vanette is comic relief, but almost like comic relief in these episodes, and it really created a nice arc.
Great. Now, speaking of what I'm gonna call the day players, which I play one. All right, let's get our good friend Gabe up.
Hello.
Hello, Gabe.
What's up, man?
How are you doing tonight?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good.
Awesome. So, with your character, the Mountain Man, or as what is the actual?
The Crazed Mountain Hobo.
I see. The Crazed Mountain Hobo. Now, I'm going to throw this question out there to you, and I hope it's not too tough.
Oh, boy.
But coming into the script, when you read your part, what was your first thought?
Well, my first thought was like, this guy is a freaking lunatic, you know? And just like holding up these people out of nowhere. You know, I get that he's been alone. He's lonely. He wants to make a few friends, you know? There's nothing wrong with that. But taking a guy hostage and wanting their supplies, you know, it's just insane. And I feel like Virgil, you know, did the right thing by killing him.
That I did. You definitely know your place.
That was the whole moral of the story.
Yeah, and I also did like how, you know, this hobo was like one of the first obstacles in the script, you know? And like for Virgil to make a decision like, crap, should I shoot this guy or should I not? What do I do during the situation, you know?
Well, that was a great insight for the Crazed Mountain Hobo.
Yeah, he's crazy.
Yeah, the takeaway of the show is sometimes you just got to shoot him.
Yeah.
Sometimes,
exactly.
Sometimes you just gotta put a man down.
Amen, brother.
Now, I'd like to call to the mic Brett Smith, who played Yos Nento and Tros Damon, or Damon.
My head is like sweating right now. I have to get this headset off.
Somebody get Charlie off the
It's
damn.
hot here, Charlie. It's hot.
He's had too much time.
He's off. Yeah, he's.
First of all, Brett. Hello, are you on the mic?
Hi, I am. Hi.
Hello there.
Hello, how are you?
How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Hey, that's my question. Don't ask me questions. How are you doing tonight?
I'm doing well. How are you doing?
Awesome. I'm doing great. Thank you. So, Brett, first of all, it was you who did that scene, right? With Charlie with the arm in
Yes,
the
that
mouth?
was me. Yeah.
Let's go through that. You guys didn't rehearse this at all,
Nope,
right?
not at all. Yeah.
This is the first time reading it.
Mhm.
That momentum in that scene. Can we get a yeehaw in the room, please?
Yeehaw, everybody.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Now, Actually, somebody get Charlie back on the mic because I want to talk about that scene.
Charlie? Yeah, let's get back on the mic. We need you, man.
No sleep for the weary.
What
And
do
he's
you want
back.
from me?
Charlie,
And I'm back, folks.
you're gonna realize during the show that you, my friend, cannot get away from the mic at all because you, as Clayton put it, you make a lot of contributions to the momentum of it. And one of the scenes that I wanted to talk to you about, which is why Brett is in the seat next to you or in front of you, is the arm in the mouth scene. I'm going to call it that scene because I don't know what the overall consensus of it was, but all I knew is that when I was hearing it, I was like, the momentum and the way that it was written was being portrayed very well, in my opinion, and it was, I would say, a standout scene in the show. One of the only, I guess, funny scenes in the show. I guess it really did make a good mark on the show. Now, my question to both of you is, when you guys read this separately, what went through your mind as to the preparation towards it?
Well, I thought that Tross and Yas were going to have kind of this this wonky alien voice. And so reading it, I would read it to myself with those voices. And I kind of just imagined kind of a Wild Wild West thing going on there. Kind of like a get my arm out of your mouth. Yeah, get my mouth off your arm. Something like that. And so I knew right away that was going to be one of the more fun scenes for me to do because I feel naturally, I'm a funny guy. And so I think I was able to have a lot of fun with that scene, and I really had a lot of fun doing it with Brett, and it was a good time. Yeah.
Brett,
yeah, likewise. It was super fun. When I read it the first time, you try to get in the mindset of these two characters, these two, butting heads. I thought it would be so much fun. And I'm so glad that you kept up with what I was trying to go with, Charlie. I really appreciate that. I just thought that these two thought they were more important than they were, so they were kind of trying to act bigger than they were, trying to, so like they were kind of like playing with Charlie the whole time. They were the hired gun. They thought, hey, we're the top guys around here, and so yeah, doing that was just super fun. So I knew going into it, that I had to make sure that I had the relationship between the both of them down so that it could play off with Charlie especially really well. Because I knew if the two of them didn't have a good connection, that it was all going to fall apart.
The moving parts were very, very quick to catch, and both of you latched on at the speed that it was going and propelled it very nicely. Very nicely. As actors are told, being generous is the way to go. And honestly, all of you guys, if all of you are listening in the room, whoever has a headphone on can relay this message, can say that
you all did.
All of you
is
guys,
what he's saying. You all did
you're
amazing.
all great.
You're all great.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So, what I was going to say was being generous is the most important quality that an actor can have, because you can be an actor and on a stage and do a monologue, but at the same time, when you have to share the stage with somebody else, you can't be the main attraction in a scene, and that was shown very clearly with the scene between Virgil, who in this case is the hero of the show, and with Yas Nento and Tros Demand, and sharing that spotlight in a small scene like that really makes the show about the world rather than the hero, and that was a great thing to see. I'm gonna move on to Jonathan Reynolds. Is he there? Your character Sylvester Unkton. Clayton, I'd like to gather your insight on why was Sylvester included in your story, just as a general question.
Well, Sylvester ends up being the big motivator behind a lot of it. He gets the farm destroyed. He offers them a way out of there, and then they get caught by the law, and so then that prompts everything. But yeah, and so that's a lot of the reason. I also enjoyed the idea of the fast talking swindler type character. I was writing this one day. It was a Saturday, and on Saturday, some of the channels that show a lot of the old shows had on a Western, and I believe it was show with Clint Eastwood was Rawhide. There was a similar character that happened to pop on, and I'd already had this character in mind, and it's like, this old guy is this is what I'm looking for. It's a small world, and so this guy also reminds me of this character I'm working on. And that guy was like an undertaker or something, so that's different. But the story, moral of the story, I don't know. He like an undertaker who got into illegally printing money, whatever the word is for that, the fake money.
Counterfeiting?
Yeah, there we go. Counterfeiting. Remember, I'm into hacking, not counterfeiting. So that's, yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I understand.
Yeah, and so Sylvester was going to be he's going to be a fun character that drove things along, but ultimately came to reflect a lot of the similar things in terms of people who have done weird stuff. And it was like, well, how, like, in terms of the weird stuff being like crime and stuff.
Weird.
It's really so out there. And so he, even though he is such a fun, weird character, he too has a lot of that baggage in terms of being wanted by the law and reflecting into Virgil as well.
With Virgil and Sylvester, there's a would you say camaraderie in that aspect, that they're both outlaws?
Yeah, I would. I know at times he acts like he's going to shoot Sylvester, and he does it out of the goodness of his heart. Honestly, it's coming from a good place. It really is. Also, Sylvester's gotten them into deep water, and so for him to be dragged into this and have to struggle with this, he struggles with himself. He does feel for Sylvester, I think, because there's probably a pity there more than anything, in terms of the way that he lives. But yeah, I think that's what drives a lot of it and what connects them throughout in their development together.
What was your thought process going in this reading and playing Sylvester?
To start out with, basically, when I auditioned, they said, "Hey, can you do like a shifty, smarmy voice?" And so I was like, "Yeah, talking about like this kind of like I can really see you going places. I have got something for you." And they were like, "Yeah, that's exactly what we're talking about." And so I just kind of went from there. And then while I was like reading through the script, I started to get a better, more specific idea of like who exactly he was. And he's kind of one of those people that gets started down a bad path, lying or swindling or whatever, probably just telling themselves that it's just this one time, but then they end up having to keep doing it and doing it and doing it and doing it over and over and over again to get themselves out of whatever new thing that they've gotten themselves into. And so then eventually he just starts leaning into it and is like, all right, well, this is who I am, so I'm gonna make the best of it.
What did you see in the cast that you put together? You could go person to person, you could go character to character, just to gain some insight on how your mind goes through casting.
There are a lot of accents. That that was a big thing. But also, just we had a vibrant cast full of colorful characters, and we brought in a lot of people with a lot of different traits. I know that kind of the big thing is there are a lot of shifty people in this show, and so we had a lot of that as well. Folks that came in with a true genuineness, and there's a lot of and ironically, there's a lot of genuineness in the script as well. Even though the characters themselves, they all have their ulterior motives. They're all on this whole thing, and so even Virgil Stockwell is lying about who he is by taking up the name Lucasta in order to hide a little bit about himself. Even the good guy has to do that. And so that was something we reflected in our cast, was to get people that kind of worked along on that interesting line between the genuineness of the character and also the complexity of them.
Now, with that being said, I was wondering if you had some memorable interactions or memorable stories from casting that went, ooh, this is interesting.
I'm not sure per se. I mean, they were all good. We enjoyed all of it, and it was interesting how dialogue or lines from Peanuts came up, and had a few of those, and that was great. But like, I don't know, I love the Peanuts anyway. Yeah, no, there was just a lot of characters that we managed to see that we fit into the context and the form of what we were looking for. So that was what a great takeaway, a great set of auditions, and a great time all around.
Can we get Sarah Gross on the
Hey, Sarah,
seat?
All right, she's here.
Hello. Jinx. Hello, Sarah.
Hi.
How are you doing tonight?
I'm good. How about you?
I'm doing just as well as the other time Brett asked me. So, I wanted to ask you, Sarah, playing a young character. I've played a young character back in the day in The Christmas Carol. I'm pretty sure Clayton knows what I'm talking about. Playing a young character as Priscilla is, what was your go-to instincts and I guess thought process going in as Priscilla?
Well, when you're playing like a child character, I've noticed a lot of times they don't hold back in what they say and what they do. They speak their mind because they don't, know any other way. They don't really have a lot of ulterior motives or, lie about things unless, they're trying to sneak a cookie from the cabinet or something. So she's very upfront about what she says and how she's feeling. And so I just try to bring that kind of like, childlike honesty to the role anytime I'm trying to portray a child.
As you said, there's this innocence and there's little deceit. What do you think is the meat in Priscilla's character in this story? What do you think is the overall motivation that Virgil gains from Priscilla's character?
So of course, he wanted to protect her because she's his daughter, but she just kind of has this spirit within her the entire time of not giving up. Because she's fierce and somewhat independent. She's holding a vaporizer gun at Sylvester in the very beginning. That takes some guts and some courage. Like, she likes to shoot bugs in her spare time. Like, what? um, but she's just got this energy about her of not giving up, of trying to persevere to the end. And I think that's another reason why Virgil is so protective of her, because she's got this optimistic yet fierce outlook on the world, and he wants her to be able to see things, to see the city, to have this life that he wants to give her, that he and Tara want to give her. So I just think she is that embodiment of hope and perseverance throughout the entire story.
Yeah, she's a young girl with moxie. Am I right?
I like that word, moxie.
Thank you. That's what I'm paid for. That's what I'm paid for. Clayton, when's my check coming in?
I think.
Oh, okay. I was about to say.
I also drew. I've played child characters before. For my audition, I brought in a Peanuts monologue, Sally Brown, and there's very few characters with more moxie than she has. So I was kind of drawing off of some experiences I had with playing other children, of not holding back, of just bringing this energy to the role that can't really be replicated by an adult. Children are special.
That they are. Thank you for your insight, Sarah. Now,
Thank you so much. Yeah.
Now,
the specialness of children was more the takeaway than shooting mountain hobos. That's something important to know. I think that's a good, yeah.
Yeah, that's very true. Very true. All right, now that the podcast is coming to an end, I'd like to get some closing remarks from the cast and gain their experiences throughout the reading of the show and putting it together for the listeners at home. Clayton, would you like to begin?
Sure. So I really enjoyed this entire situation. I really love Starshear Rim as something I've been able to produce for this, and something that I've been able to use to combine a lot of things I've loved. There's in terms of music in it, that's something I've loved as well, and combining those different ideas in terms of sci-fi, western, all those things combining and making something new and something different, and kind of that interesting thing of the context of these ideas and how they're played out in this, and that and putting it all together. That's the big thing that was great about writing this.
So I've only been here at SEMO for a couple of weeks, but I'm really glad that I got to do this project with you guys. It was my first, really theatrical performance that I've gotten to do while I'm here, and all of you guys are just wonderful, and thank you for inviting me into your world.
Aww.
Yes, hi. I just like to say real quick, this is super cool. I didn't realize this was a thing that people did here. So this was a great introduction to be a part of this. And I hope to be a part of more of these in the future. I think these are fantastic. I've done mostly like stage productions throughout my life. So getting to change up pace a little bit and kind of relax and have more fun with it, with this type of script, and working with these guys, and it's really great. So I'm hoping there's more of this in the near future, and I'm glad I got to do it.
Thank you so much for being a part of the production. Anybody else?
I just wanted to add something like real quick. Like this, I'll be serious. Like I'll agree with Brett. I agree with Brett. Like I had no idea this was a thing, and I'm not sure if anyone else here is the same way, but I really want to be a voice actor, like, and get into the professional industry one day. And seeing this, like, I already love theater, and one day, I'd love to go to Broadway, but it's probably not going to happen. But voice acting has been a part of my life since I was like 11, 12, and it's something really promising, a niche market that I realized I was good at, and seeing something like this, like here at SEMO, like this is one of the coolest things I've ever seen, and I just can't wait to see what happens in the future for this, and I'd love to be a part of anything I can.
Thank you so much, Margot, for being a part of our organization. Now, if we got anybody else to say anything of the sort, it doesn't have to be a mushy gushy sort of, oh, thank you so much, which is nice to hear, but come on, you guys are professionals. You guys have.
Yeah, not not to jump on the bandwagon here, but
You
I
can if
also
you want to. I'm not discouraging anybody from saying thank you, but I'm just saying if anybody's got anything else to say, they can.
um I just wanted to say like this has been a really great fun experience. Like all you guys, I I felt immediately like right at home the second I walked in and everyone was like doing Star Wars impressions and stuff. And um I walked in and it was hello there. Just immediately. And I was like, I'm home. This is where I belong. um but it's been really nice because I'm a transfer student, and so it's been kind of awkward, especially with all of the coronavirus restrictions and everything. I think it's all beyond just having to wear a mask and everything. All of my classes, it's been like you go in, you sit down, and then it's just for like 5 minutes until the teacher walks in. They're like, "Hey, everyone, how's everyone doing?"
That's how it is in daily life anyway. So,
But
unless you're in an acting class, then it's different.
I don't know. Even in my acting classes, everyone's been like kind of reserved, particularly
Really?
for theater students.
Really? That's crazy to me. That is crazy.
Yeah. But it was really nice getting to work with everyone.
Thank you so much. And I guess melancholy is in the air, so I guess doing this sort of project really kind of puts out some positivity in the world and brings a positive mindset to the people that we bring into our family. Wouldn't you say so, Clayton?
Oh, absolutely. This is so great, and it's great that we have such an enthusiastic group to get together and to put on this story. And it's like this story meant so much to me, and so to be able to share it with all you guys that are so gung ho about it and so so into it and so into this craft, which is a craft unto itself, really. And so it's such a different option and opportunity that we want to be able to get out there and get people involved in, because it's great. And just to hear other people's stories and to hear them bring other people's stories, it's a huge collaboration in narrative and in good fun, really. Just the amount of fun we have in here, messing up the script and to hear all these good things from you all, it really means a lot to me. And God bless you all, because honestly, to say we have made an evening out of it is an understatement.
Yeah, you'd be right about
I'm
that.
pretty sure it's past my bedtime.
I'm realizing now that the fact is I've been trying to mouth words and nobody can read lips right now. And so wow.
Yeah, that's smart, Clayton. Now, don't forget, Clayton's a journalism major too. He's got the wits about him. All right. So I'm gonna come out and say something. If nobody else wants, you know what?
Nope.
Just closing remarks. No.
Nope.
All right. It's my turn to be all mushy.
With their eyes, they are saying, "Go ahead."
This whole collaboration of SEMO students putting together original content and producing it and putting it out into the general public for everyone to hear is a great platform for all the creative people in our community. I'd say that there are actors in need of venues to showcase their talent. There are writers in need of showcasing their voice. There are editors in need of showcasing their prowess, technological prowess, that is. And this organization puts it all together in a neat package and gives people the opportunity to put themselves out there in a professional light. And we do it while we're having fun. And we do it with smiles across our face every single week or every single month, whatever the schedules are for the shows or whatever the schedules are for the writing room. We come in, we do our work, we have fun, we live and we laugh together. And that's what the creative spirit, in my opinion, is. And to that, I would like to ask for a yeehaw one last time in that grand old room of ours. Thank you all. This is Satyajit Sarkar signing off for the Aftershow podcast. Be safe and bless you all. Good night.